Do the Chicago Bears love LSU wide receiver Malik Nabers? That is where we kick off today's episode of Bears Now by Chat Sports. My name is Harrison Graham. David Kaplan, who's been in Chicago sports media for a while, does a show, ESPN 1000, has his own YouTube channel as well. Direct quote from him earlier today, it was this, or I think it was last night actually. I can tell you the Bears love Malik Nabers. So we'll dive into this coming up momentarily. But hey, the Bears may love Nabers. I love the Bears and covering this team. If you do too, hit the like button. Who's with me? Like the video today if you are a huge Chicago Bears fan. All right, we've obviously talked about Malik Nabers quite a bit. We did yesterday after his pro day. Talk about him a little bit more today. More fallout from the pro day, plus this report from David Kaplan that the Bears do really like the LSU wide receiver. One thing I feel very confident in saying, watching him, his play speed, I think it was confirmed with his testing yesterday. I think out of the top three, the big three, Marvin Harrison Jr., Malik Nabers, Rome Odunze, Nabers is the most explosive. I think he's the most explosive receiver among the top guys. They're all pretty explosive, but he's more explosive than Odunze, slightly more than MHJ, who obviously we don't have testing numbers for, but you see it on tape. He's pretty damn explosive as well. Obviously, he's smaller than those guys, so there's a bit of a give and take there, but he's still plenty big, 6 foot, around 200 pounds. Depending on different scouts, he ran anywhere from a 4.33 to a 4.4 flat. Vertical off the charts, really good broad jump as well. It really just confirms what you see on the film, and just when you're watching LSU play, it's like, whoa, who's that? Who's that number 8 guy? Oh, yeah, that's Malik Nabers, who's just running past everybody on the football field. And I shared this yesterday. I'll share it here again. Dane Brugler, one of the top draft analysts in the game, pretty tapped in, says that there are people who believe Malik Nabers is this draft class top player, best player in the entire draft, which not only does that mean some people have him higher than Marvin Harrison Jr., they have him higher than everyone, the quarterbacks too. So that's pretty high praise for Nabers, who is a very, very, very good player and really a great prospect. He really is. I mean, he's got the full package. I mean, if he was 6'2", 6'3", I would have him over MHJ because I do think he's more explosive. I think with MHJ being, in that 6'3", 6'4" range and still very explosive, I still like him a little bit more. But the gap is not significant between Nabers and Marvin Harrison Jr., and that's why we keep talking about these receivers, man, because you get one of these guys in here, number one, it's insurance if Keenan Allen either A, starts to drop off, or B, doesn't get an extension for whatever reason. He is 32 now. I think he will, but just in case. And B, it kind of is just that next generation big-time playmaker that you need, right? Like, Keenan Allen's not going to play forever. DJ Moore in 2 years is up for a massive deal. Like, I would expect him to get another contract here, but you never know. And beyond that, you really don't have clear answers after those two guys. So even if they come in here and are somewhat of a distant number 3 as a rookie, that's still a massive upgrade over a Tyler Scott or a Velus Jones. The question is this, because I don't think Malik Nabers has fallen to number 9, especially after his pro day. The question is whether or not he's worth trading up for. Now, in a vacuum, I would say yes. You get another weapon for Caleb Williams. He is a very, very good prospect. I would put him in that blue chip category. You know, these teams talk about, color tiers, right? Blue chip is like that top of the line. Red is kind of like that very good, but maybe not all pro. That would be kind of that second tier. Malik Nabers is in that top tier. But you have 4 draft picks. There's really good players that could be available in that 9 range. I would be okay trading up for Nabers or MHJ. For Odunze, I'm not against it. I'd probably rather just sit at 9 and see if he's there, because I think I have decided that it's MHJ 1, Malik Nabers maybe 1B or really close to, and then Odunze 3. I do think he is the third guy, but he's still very, very good. So that's kind of where I'm at. I'm not trying to force the issue, but man, the idea of Marvin Harrison Jr. or Malik Nabers coming to this football team, getting another big-time weapon with Caleb Williams is very, very fun to think about. Now, what say you? Is Malik Nabers worth trading up for, in your opinion? Type Y for yes, or you can type in for no. Pin comment on today's video, so go ahead and reply right there. All right, let's talk number 9 pick scenarios, as the Bears are starting to work through their options with that number 9 pick. They've done their scouting for a few months, which that's still ongoing, but these pro days are mostly over at this point. Top 30 visits are going to start coming in, and Patrick Finley had an interesting report about how the Bears are going to do this. He says that general manager Ryan Poles plans to break his staff into various teams over the next few weeks as the Bears prepare to draft 4 times in late April. Their goal is to determine what position would have the most impact when they draft 9th overall. And even Ryan Poles said this at the NFL owners meetings. He said one team is going to talk about the tackle position is the best to go after, or the wide receiver is the best, or the defensive end is the best, and use factual information to kind of spit that out. And we'll have a debate in terms of what's more impactful for our football team, both short-term and long-term. And so he's kind of confirming that, saying, yeah, like these are 3 positions with premium players in that range at 9, and just based on what we need as well. So I think it's a good plan. Like, hey, all right, wide receiver team, make your case. Offensive tackle team, make your case. Edge, and then you come together and you kind of tier those players, and maybe then it just becomes a best player available situation if you're comfortable with all 3 positions at that slot. So what we'll do coming up is explore some options with that number 9 pick. What are some players at each of those premium positions that we're talking about that the Bears could go after? But first, do got to tell you about today's sponsor. That is Game Time. You know what sucks? Thinking you have purchased tickets, but for whatever reason, it didn't go through, or you didn't get the digital transfer from the initial owner of that ticket because the website you used just didn't make it easy on you, or maybe you had trouble buying those tickets and in general just quit on it because you couldn't figure it out. Well, no longer. That's what I say. That's what Game Time says as well. They offer an easy and painless way to purchase tickets to a Cubbies game or a White Sox game. Happy baseball season, everybody. Or your favorite concert, your favorite comedy show, theater, whatever the case may be. Everything's digital these days. You got to figure it out, and Game Time has made it easy for you. And we also have a deal for you guys. When you download the app, use the promo code CHATSPORTS, all one word, CHATSPORTS. That's going to get you $20 off when you download Game Time. There's a link in the comments and the description that'll take you to the download at your app store, or just go to your app store, search Game Time, and use promo code CHATSPORTS. Don't wait any longer. Get your last-minute tickets for the lowest price guaranteed with Game Time. That is what they specialize in, getting those tickets at the last minute because, hey, sometimes we want to be, living with, last minute, right? Not planning things out, and that's where Game Time comes in for you guys. So go check them out, $20 off with promo code CHATSPORTS. All right, let's go through some of these position groups that Poles alluded to and how they're going to debate. And look, to me, obviously all 3 of these guys aren't going to be here at 9. It's more likely none of them are. But for me, if any of those 3 receivers are there at 9, not only am I comfortable taking them, I would take them. Like, that is how I would rank them. I put up my Bears draft big board this morning, my initial top 20. Go check that out. Subscribe. Go to the content tab. I got 3 of these players in the top 5. I think it's that good of a group, and if one of them gets to 9, that's an automatic trigger pull for me. Offensive tackles, Joe Alt, I think I had as my number 6 overall player. If he's at 9, that's great value. Both these other guys, though, Olu Fashanu and Talais Fuaga, really good players. Now, like I mentioned on our draft big board video, Fuaga, my only question there is, can he play left tackle, or are you going to move Darnell Wright to left tackle? Because Fuaga's played primarily right, so that's something you got to work through. Olu's obviously played left. He was high school teammates with Caleb Williams, so he's certainly an option. Edges, we've talked about the big 3 here. Dallas Turner, Jared Verse, Latu. They all have pros and cons. Turner, most explosive of the group, super long, raw tools. Jared Verse, kind of the complete package. He's bigger than Turner. I don't think the upside is quite as big. He's not as athletic, although he's very athletic. And then Latu is the most polished of the group. The biggest negative there is his medical history. He was medically retired for like a year and a half. So that's something you have to check off on as well. You know, when you look at these top needs, obviously quarterback's going to be handled with the number 1 pick. Those next 3 positions, edge, wide receiver, and offensive tackle, based on your needs and really what players are going to be there in that range, it kind of lines up well based on how the Bears have built their roster. You could go defensive tackle, Byron Murphy, Drazon Newton, a couple of other options there. But the point is that the Bears are going to have good options there at 9. They don't have to trade up. They could trade down. Here's Matt Eberflus talking about the Bears' options at 9. He said, what we've done in free agency allows us to be flexible, to really be able to take the best player, the one we feel fits us for us in that spot. And yeah, again, getting Keenan Allen, I think, really made this easier and gives you more optionality. Like, if you didn't get Allen, I'm not saying you had to force the issue at receiver, but like, you might have been more wanting to trade up for one of those big three if you were nervous if one didn't fall. Now, if one doesn't fall, like, sure, you might be bummed, but then if one of them doesn't fall, maybe Joe Alt's still there. And you're like, that's a really good pick. Or you could have access to the top defensive player on your board. So the flexibility is there. Ryan Poles has talked about that for 3 years. He believes in being flexible so you don't have to force the issue in the draft. And the Bears have certainly done that with how they've operated in free agency and with a couple of these trades. Fill in the blank. The Bears will draft blank at number 9 overall. Let us know who you think that player is. And maybe that player will be Rome Odunze. Now, certainly, when you look at mock drafts, that seems to be the most common name for the Bears at 9. Caleb at 1, Odunze at 9. If that happens, we're partying here on the channel. But Brady Henderson, the Seahawks ESPN reporter, obviously Seattle, near the University of Washington. So Odunze, who had his pro day today, didn't work out, by the way, but Washington had their pro day today, said, tells me he has upcoming meetings with the Cardinals, Jets, and Bears at those teams' facilities. The Giants also flew him out for a meeting after the Combine. So he's got some big meetings coming up, including one with the Bears, which is interesting. Caleb Williams coming in next week to Halas Hall as a part of the initial wave of top 30 visits. Maybe him and Rome Odunze go at the same time. We saw them spending some time together at the NFL Combine. Maybe, just maybe, something's brewing there with those two potentially teaming up in Chi-Town. All right. Appreciate everybody for tuning in to today's show. If you want more Bears news and rumors and other content, hit the subscribe button. Turn on notifications. We got you covered 24/7, 365. My name is Harrison Graham. Bear down.